Welcome to this Fiction Brain Masterclass on character versus plot-driven stories. Every writer faces one fundamental choice before drafting a single word. Will your story run on a plot-centric system, driven by external events, or a character-centric system, driven by internal transformation? This is not an accident of the writing process. It is a deliberate structural choice, and today we will explore why. Let's start with the plot-driven system. In a plot-centric framework, external events are the primary engine of the story. The narrative runs on strict structural causality. Every action triggers a specific reaction. Characters exist mainly to navigate and respond to the sequence of events. They function as catalysts, pushing the plot relentlessly forward from one beat to the next. Now consider the character-driven system. Here, the psychological journey sits at the center of everything. The story is fueled by internal transformation. The focus shifts from what happens around the character to what happens within them. Events no longer take the lead. Instead, they serve as catalysts that challenge the protagonist's beliefs and force difficult choices. This structure prioritizes character agency. The climax is usually a profound internal realization, not just an external victory. So how do you choose between these two systems? Think of your story as an architectural build. At the very base layer is your core concept, the raw premise. Before laying a single brick of dialogue, you must select your delivery system. Will it be plot-centric or character-centric? Only after making that choice do you move upward into the drafting phase. This top-down approach keeps your final narrative cohesive. It prevents the dreaded muddled middle, where stories lose their direction. Let's see how the two approaches handle the exact same idea. Imagine our inciting incident. A seasoned detective finds a mysterious locket at a crime scene. In a plot-centric system, that locket contains a map to a hidden conspiracy. The focus turns entirely to external events, puzzles, and the ensuing chase. But in a character-centric system, the locket belongs to the detective's estranged daughter. Now the true conflict becomes internal, forcing them to confront past failures. Same starting point, yet this single choice sends the narrative down two completely different paths. Let's visualize each path as a roadmap. A plot-centric story begins with an inciting event that forces a reaction. But rather than deep internal change, that reaction immediately triggers a new event. Here, characters drive the plot forward, moving from one beat to the next. A character-centric story does not start with an external event. It starts entirely from within, with a core character flaw or an unmet need. This internal struggle becomes the root of your story. As the character tries to resolve that need, they are forced to make difficult choices. These choices lead to conflict and demand personal growth. Notice how the structure branches organically from the character's psychology. In this system, the plot is not a rigid frame you force the character into. Instead, the plot is simply a byproduct of the character's internal struggle. So how do you decide which system fits your story? Let's walk through a simple three-step framework. Step 1 is identifying your initial spark. Before you write a word, analyze the idea that first ignited your story. What was the very first thing that came to you? Step 2 is determining your primary interest. Ask yourself honestly, what excited you first? Was it a complex situation or a fascinating person? If it was the situation, you lean plot-driven. If it was the person, you lean character-driven. This single answer shapes your entire delivery system. Step 3 is analyzing your thematic goals. Ask yourself, what emotional impact do you want to leave with your reader? If your goal is suspense or a thrilling puzzle, your theme demands a plot-centric system. If your aim is to explore empathy and personal transformation, a character-centric system is your best vehicle. Your thematic destination ultimately dictates the system you must choose. Making this choice before your first draft is absolutely crucial. This early commitment acts as your narrative compass. It prevents the muddled middle, where stories lose their momentum. When you understand your structural choice, you eliminate structural confusion. With the right system in place, every scene you write will naturally align with your core framework. So let's recap our journey. First, we defined the core differences between plot-driven and character-driven structures. Second, we treated narrative delivery as a deliberate structural choice. Third, we walked through a three-step decision framework for choosing your path. Armed with this conceptual framework, You can pick your path with confidence before writing Chapter 1. Now, go write.